Hello everyone. Welcome back to another Magic the Gathering Commander Review video. We are in the Homeland set and we are talking about Grandmother Sengir, who is, if I can get my phone to work here, a human wizard, even though Sengir is in the name. Grandmother did not get turned into a vampire just yet. Human wizard 3/3 that costs 4 generic and 1 black mana, and it has an ability for 1 generic mana, 1 black mana, and tap Grandmother Sengir. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Very straightforward ability, and not the strongest, but we're going to build decks that utilize that ability. So, no card rulings, just this little plague effect is what I call it. I don't know what you guys would call it, but I call it a plague effect. To support this plague effect, I chose Midnight Banshee as a good card to synergize with it. It can give -1/-1 counters to all non-black creatures and really whittle them down. Be careful, of course, because this upkeep trigger does not affect black creatures. So your deck will be totally fine, but if anyone else is playing with black, they will also be fine. So we're going to need to find ways to get around that. But aside from that, the rest of the color pie, including colorless, will be getting weaker and weaker as the game goes on. Speaking of which, we're going to take advantage of that. The deck that I'm building is a plague-themed deck, where the entire game I'm just slowly draining creatures down and weakening them, not necessarily destroying them on the spot with a single action. Things like Mutilate will help because as I'm lowering bigger creatures down, when I cast Mutilate, I'll guarantee that I can get rid of the entire board if necessary. Things like Tooth Collector will help me control the board, and then Blightsickle will give creatures Wither, which is great because plague effects all by themselves are temporary, and Blightsickle and Wither are permanent -1/-1 counters, which is a very strong supported theme. Grandmother Sengir is not a vampire. It is a human wizard. But for flavor, because the Sengir family is controlled by Baron Sengir, who is a vampire, you could build a vampire deck, which has a lot of fun with wanting other creatures to die for Blade of the Blood Chief to make your vampires bigger. Urge to Feed will help weaken other creatures on the board and strengthen your vampires. Cordial Vampire, when you use Grandmother Sengir's ability to get rid of like pesky tokens, can make all of your vampires bigger. So it's kind of this weird symbiotic synergy between this human wizard and vampire tribal, but it's got some flavor, it's got some lore to it. So try it out, let me know in the comments below what you guys think. And lastly, hitting on that token theme specifically, you could build a unique version of an aristocrat deck where you are specifically trying to sacrifice your tokens. A lot of tokens that you make, as far as creatures go, are going to be 1/1s, and so Grandmother Sengir on each of your turns can get rid of one of those tokens by using her ability. And there are other sack outlets out there in black that would make things more easier for you, but some of those may be a little out of your price range or your budget. And so Grandmother Sengir would be a nice replacement for that, and having a little bit of redundancy in your strategy never hurts. And that's going to do it for Grandmother Sengir. A unique ability, and because it is subtle, it's a small effect, it won't necessarily draw as much hate as like a -1/-1 counter deck will be drawing. It will draw hate though, so be warned, be prepared for that, have protections, make sure you have good win cons to support your strategy. And as I said earlier, it is not a strong ability. It is only -1/-1, so it's really only effective on small creatures unless you support and build around this plague-themed strategy. Aside from that, though, I'm very excited to play with it. I think the plague concept of like temporarily weakening the board will bring a unique flavor to the deck, to your game nights with your friends, and can make for some fun and interesting experiences at the table. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!